Whoops. Yeah. Instead of unpausing it, I obviously stopped the video, and this will be the second version of part two because I was listening to part two, and it was just incoherent, and me with a coffee cup on my chest like this, doing this, gesturing like this, and not realizing that I am annoyingly clicking on the cup. So I can't do that to y'all. You know, I just can't. It's just too mean. But I was talking about my volume usage, and I took two whole pills yesterday because I had the arrhythmia scare, and then before then I was taking probably three halves a day as opposed to two halves a day. So I feel like I'm not keeping track still. I feel like I'm taking more Valium than I have been taking, and part of that has to do with the sleep disturbance that I created uh, by not picking up my melatonin prescription. Because when you have a regular sleeping schedule, you wake up 7 or 8 in the morning, you have a regular morning, and then you know when to take your first dose and about when to take your second dose. When it's all up in the air and you're sleeping, 3, 4 hours here and there, and dozing in the middle of the day, it's all mixed up, and you also don't have that clear like, oh, I'm sleepy now. It's time for me to go to sleep. So that's why I really need to establish a sleeping schedule and not be woken up by random ice storms, thinking that it's rain. Because I knew it was cold outside, but I'm hearing water-like noises. So naturally, I'm going to think it's water coming through the ceiling, and this is something that calls for immediate attention in the form of buckets on the floor, maybe a plastic bag over the TV, and you just can't say, "Oh, it seems to be raining inside my house." Bucket, and go back to sleep. It doesn't work that way. So, um, yeah. Anyways, the what's been going on with me obviously is a lot of inertia and a lot of hopelessness as far as like I tried for a lot of years to get things accomplished, and actually things are worse. So I don't know, and there's not a lot of incentive. I think I was trying to explain, like with a lot of diseases, uh, you got to keep moving, and you loosen stuff up, and then you feel better. You know, with me, I move around, and I do stuff, and I do housework, and then I get to the point where I'm risking falling over, and I lay down, and I want to eat a whole bottle of Neurontin because it hurts like a toothache. It doesn't make it feel better. It makes it feel worse. And I'm in a lot of pain right now, and I'm sleep deprived. So that's one of the reasons why I just scrapped the unintentional part two due to my technical lack of proficiency, as in not recognizing what is a pause button. And there's two buttons. There's a pause button and there's a record button. So I hit the pause button. Instead of hitting the pause button again to unpause it, like I don't know, everything in the world I think works that way, I hit the record button to make it record again, which turned it off. So that's why we're here in part two. But, anyways, because my brain is in this sorry shape, uh, it wasn't, yeah, it was just a lot of me like, what do I do? What can I do? And I'm not, and me admitting that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is I have to follow up with the Lifeline people, because the way they worked is I had a message left on their machine and then they get back to you, but they haven't gotten back to me for 2 weeks, which means I have to pursue them and I have to pick up the phone and try to arrange an appointment with the primary caregiver. because I don't have one of those. And this little bottle of gabapentin, see if I can find the window to it. It's about right there. And they're not real tiny pills, they're capsules. And I've been taking like one and limiting the amount of things that I do in the form of housework and whatnot in order to keep from having to take more, because the pain is very intense. And I was lamenting uh, the fact that it's a matter of money, really. I mean, you can get treated for like any number of imaginary complaints if you have money. If you have something where you have an obvious problem and you don't have money, they don't want to mess with you. If it's a situation like mine where they do a risk management in their head where they're like, well, this guy's got a lot of problems, we might kill him, people might sue us, or we might get hit with a malpractice thing because he's just a poor risk candidate, so therefore we don't want to treat him. But if I had money, whole different story. I was talking to my brother about it. He said something funny. He was like, "Yeah, they'll treat you for anything, or they'll even make you look like a cat if you want to." And he was bringing up the ridiculous plastic surgeries that people have done to themselves. Like the first time I saw somebody put like subdermal horns on their head, like they were a devil, or people that have their teeth filed down to points in the front, or all the ridiculous, unnecessary cosmetic things that people do to themselves. Uh, yeah, or spend thousands of dollars on tattoos. You know, that's more in the like fancy hairstyle department. I'm talking about actual invasive medical procedures that aren't necessary, where they cut into you. You know, I can't get somebody to cut into me when my problem is not the way that I look or how unhappy I am when I see myself in the mirror. My problem is walking across the damn floor. So that's a little frustrating, but I brought that on myself by being a monetary ascetic. I need teeth. Can't talk right anymore. A monetary ascetic is someone who doesn't really pay attention to money. And it's like asceticism is like deliberate poverty and unworldliness, like not concerned with worldly affairs. And it's not a good thing to be when you get older. It's not a good thing to be when you're younger. That's when you need to make your hay. That's when you need to make your money. Or when you get older and your body starts to fall apart. And I didn't have anybody advising me on life at all. I was just trying to figure it out by myself, and I seem to have failed. But anyways, so that's what I need to do is doing whatever I can do physically to get my heart rate up, first of all, because I don't think the arrhythmia thing, I can't let that scare me. It, of course, does, but it's just going to get worse. My heart's going to get in worse shape if I don't lift some weights. If I can't walk, I can lift weights, just get my heart rate up for sustained workout to work my heart out. It's just going to, yeah, it's just going to get worse. So I have to figure that out. And I also have to get a primary caregiver so I can at least get more Neurontin. If nothing else, maybe some injections into my knee. The Lifeline people also have optometry, so I can ditch the bifocals, get a better pair of glasses and contacts. All I need is the eye exam, and that's just something I don't know. I'm just beset. I'm beset, bewitched, and be bothered by forces on all sides of me. So I just got a lot of inertia about fighting back these days, and you have to try to overcome that somehow before things get too bad. Almost got too bad yesterday because I still don't know how I escaped the hospital yesterday. I mean, I was taking my pulse and not getting anything, okay? I'm like, yeah, this is arrhythmia because there's no heartbeat and I'm pretty sure I'm alive. And then, okay, there's a heartbeat, there's a heartbeat, okay, where'd you go again? You know, it wasn't good. And having that threat looming, I think I said that in the first part, but having that threat looming over your head all the time is just brutal. And sometimes, since I've been having like disturbing dreams, not necessarily nightmares, I wake up with a heartbeat, and I'll be like popping metoprolol. So I'm like, I happen to know that if you have an accelerated heart rate and you get to that arrhythmia thing where you're like heartbeat, heartbeat, anywhere a heartbeat, you're more likely to stay in arrhythmia. So you want to keep your pulse rate low. Then you got the uh, conundrum of like you need to get your pulse rate up though on a regular basis to work your heart out, to strengthen your heart so it can handle, you know, so your heart's in better shape, so you have a better instrument to work with. So that's why I like when I had a treadmill in here and my knee was not complete garbage, I would walk on the treadmill, but then if I even felt like the hint of something being wrong, I'd get the fuck off the treadmill and sit in a chair and breathe and think pleasant thoughts. And it's like it's kind of a weird thing. Um, I don't have an analogy for it, but it's basically, yeah, basically juggling chainsaws, man. Because if you do it wrong, yeah, you're gonna get thrown into arrhythmia. And if your heart rate's already really high, chances are you're not gonna get your heart rate's not gonna start beating normal again. That's one of the blessings of me being able to feel it, because as soon as my heart fucks up, it's like it's time to mellow out. Don't think about it. Do something else and relax. And, hope for the best. Don't panic. That's the main thing. Don't panic. That'll make your heart beat even faster. It's like some show I was watching where a guy gets shot. They were like, "Stay calm, because you'll bleed more if your heart beats faster." And the guy's gut shot. It's like, yeah, how the hell do you stay calm when you're gut shot? How the hell do you stay calm when you're feeling for a pulse and you're dead? You got nothing. I was like, I got nothing. And it's like, there's no pulse. Okay, there it is. And I'm like, okay, all right, it started back up again. That's good. Like, how do you stay calm in a situation like that? But anyways, um, yeah, I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet. Uh, and a more intelligent person probably would, but I'm not ready to yet. Uh, I want to keep trying. I think like the ice storm stopped outside, by the way, which is cool. Hopefully the cat got back in the house because I want to shut the window because I got heaters blazing in here. I just totally derailed whatever my train of thought was. But it's like it's a million degrees in here because I got two heaters running because the window's open and it's in the low 20s outside because I wanted to keep the window open for the cat in the other room. And whether there's a door there or not, that cold air gets in here. So, well, I could turn the heaters down instead of talking about how hot it is in here. That may help. Anyways, yeah. Sorry about screwing up the um, workman's comp story of the con woman aid worker. I think I talked about that before, and I try not to be redundant. I realize that's an impossibility because if you do enough videos, or even if you just talk enough in general, you're not going to realize that you said a thing before sometimes until after you've said it. And yeah, that's from being on the other side of that, like with my brother a last night, for instance, I was trying to speed things along. Like, yeah, we heard this before. I'm sure you get that with me a lot of times. Like, oh, yeah, heard that before. Don't need to hear that again. Uh, I try to be empathetic with my listeners. So, you know, was he telling me last night that he was repeating, and I was trying to, I screwed it up. You got to derail him at the beginning because he's like a train going downhill. You got to stop him before he gets down, gets going. It's too late. He's got to finish the same story that you've heard a billion times before. I don't remember the story, but I went to cut him off and I got it wrong, so I didn't save myself. And he had to explain how I was wrong on the story that I've already heard before. So I'm like, yeah, there goes another like 10 minutes of my life. Well, at least, I appreciate his company. So, but yeah, I always tell people when I'm not talking to them on the computer, I always tell people, like, listen, if I ever tell you a thing and you heard it before, I won't get upset. Just tell me, yeah, you told me that. And I'm good. I don't like to repeat myself, so that's why I screwed that up. Um, you know, and plus I don't have a whole lot going on since I can't do a whole lot. Uh, but I figured like this seems to be a healthy thing for me to do, and some of y'all seem to either enjoy it, appreciate it, or tolerate it. I'll take any of the above. So it doesn't feel like I'm talking to myself or just talking for my own benefit that way. And I seem to be very hungry at the moment and am having a verbal competition with my stomach. My stomach is less articulate, but it's catching up. Anyways, uh, I was I was just saw this video, and this is a thing that people do that annoys people, but I think everybody should see this video, so I'm gonna put a link to it in the description because it made me laugh. It doesn't make you laugh. You're not human. So it's only a 15-second video too, so it's not an enormous um, venture like what we're experiencing right now, where a guy is dealing with his existential crises, uh, crises, his many problems, and trying to like reconcile himself with like, yes, this is your situation. Yeah, you have to deal with it. You know, you have to do these things, and they're all going to be unpleasant, and they're all going to be bad. But and then I have to like work around in my mind to find a reason to do these things, and I don't. You know, considering the luck that I've had with doctors, it's like I really don't have any incentive to trust doctors, and considering my physical condition, it's really not logical for me to keep going. But then you can always resort to like, well, this is the one life you got. It may be garbage and it may be full of pain, but it's the only one you got. So yeah, you might as well keep trying until it becomes completely and utterly futile. And there is also the fact that I do find I'm pretty much at peace. I do find amusement at things. I mean, I've taken some hits as far as going through like the leg thing and the benzo thing. It put strain on all these relationships I had, and I found out that like a lot of people suddenly found me too much bother and didn't want to deal with me anymore. And then you deal with a lot of hurt and rejection too, because you're like, wait a minute, like I helped this person like a million times and now they don't want to help me. It's like and then you start thinking like, well, if I was in their shoes, and I've been in their shoes many times, I would do this thing that I'm asking them to do to help them out. And it's like, well, they're not you. They don't necessarily like helping people. They don't necessarily get a kick out of it. It's not part of who they are. And then you find this out when you start needing help. Because I used to be fairly self sufficient to the point where, you know, I'd rather, because I could physically do it, I would rather carry groceries on my back and walk through the snow, literally, than bother somebody to get a ride to the grocery store. And um, then you find out, like, hey man, I'm in really bad withdrawal because I ran out of Xanax, and it feels like I just shit everything out of me, including my what brains I have left. Could you mind taking me to the doctor so I could, you know, uh, survive? And they're like, yeah, can you get somebody else to do it? And then you think, like, this is somebody that went cold turkey from alcohol and knows exactly what I'm experiencing. And all they got to do is jump in a car and drive and drop me off somewhere. I'm not even asking them to stay. And it's, they know what, in other words, they know what cold turkey withdrawal and benzo and alcohol withdrawal are the two withdrawals that can kill a healthy person. So they had alcohol withdrawal, I'm having benzo withdrawal. And I'm suffering really terribly, but they don't want to help me. It's like, does this person really care about me? I would say no. So you discover a lot of things like that when you start to need help in life. Instead of being the helper guy or being the self-sufficient type person or somebody that just don't ask for a whole lot. And when you get put in positions where you're forced to ask, you find out, you know, who your friends are, as they say. And even though that I've gone through that rather excoriating process, um, I still, I don't know, I still find amusement in life and pleasure in existence if I'm not in too much pain. And you know, my and if I can find a pulse, when I have a pulse, I'm usually okay. Let's put it that way. So I don't ask for, you know, I don't need a whole lot. So if they can, so I'm willing to hang around and suffer through some more stuff and see if I can improve my situation to where I can just enjoy those small moments. Um, like reading a book where they're complaining about the invention of the rotary phone and how, like, oh, I would like to talk to an operator right now, but they seem to have advanced technology to the point where they're trying to phase out human interaction. And I'm like, books written in like 1940s or 50s, probably the 40s. Um, Stuff like that I get a kick out of. And anyways, so I hopefully this is a better part two than the other part two where I kept banging on the cup with my fingernails, like a nervous tick or something. And I was rambling fairly incoherently as I am now, except for even more so to the point where uh, I was thinking about, like, well, if I do put this up, I should title it "My Brain is Broken" because it's not working. So, anyways, next time I'll know how to use a pause button. I will solve that great mystery and learn how to use a pause button. Instead of complaining about my nose itching, I will just pause and then, yeah, do whatever I need to do to my nose to fix it, and then get back on camera and say sorry about the pause break and let you know that I paused it, as if you can't tell. Um, anyways, whatever. Uh, yeah, I'll talk to you in a few days, and you know, hopefully something good will happen. I'll have something good to report, and The only good thing that I had to report here was like the person used the PayPal account for the second time to send me some money. So getting money, good. Not getting money, less good. So yeah, I'm kind of done with that, a whole monetary asceticism thing that I could afford to indulge in when I was youthful and strong and powerful and could walk long distances and carry 30, 40 pounds of groceries on my back. Because, yeah, those days are over. And now I can still pick up 30 or 40 pounds, but it's not going anywhere. I can still pick up when I order 30 pounds of cat food, I can still pick it up at the door and, move it from outside the door to inside the door. But as far as getting it from that part of my apartment to the part of the apartment I want it to be at, I'm holding on to the wall and dragging it. I'm not picking it up. And it's not because I'm not strong enough to pick it up. It's because my legs don't. Me and my legs are not on speaking terms these days. So, anyways, that was a horrible ending, but it's an ending. And I'll talk to you in 3 to 5 days. And no more two parters. Goodbye.